Hey, Segovia, back with another one. Make sure you guys watch from start to finish. That really helps the channel grow. But with that being said, let's get into it. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Now I gotta ask the question on everyone's mind, where do you say you come from exactly?
We make our home inside your moon.
Inside the
Yes.
moon?
Beneath the crust is a luminous sea, and our
Do you believe that the war in Iran is the catalyst to start World War III or the end times?
I do.
Yeah.
I do. I do. And I think that that's why they do it. I think that the people in the Pentagon know that this war in Iran, it'll be a disaster because America is not ready for a war. To fight a war, you need, first of all, you need manufacturing capacity, right? You need to be able to produce bullets and tanks and planes. And America offshored its manufacturing capacity to China. There's no way that China is going to produce tanks and bullets for the American military, right? Okay, so that's issue number one, military capacity. Manufacturing capacity. Number two is political will. And the reality is that American people don't understand why America would start a war in Iran. And Americans have no ill feelings towards Iranians, okay? It's not like Afghanistan and Iraq where Americans were gaslighted into believing that Saddam Hussein was responsible for 9/11, where Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction. You could make a case against Iraq and Saddam Hussein. It's impossible for you to make a case against Iran because Iranians have been extremely cooperative. In fact, you would argue that they gone out of their way to be as peaceful as possible with America because America assassinated their top general in the Middle East, General Soleimani, which is a declaration of war. Basically, it's an act of war when you kill an ambassador or an envoy of a nation, right? But the Iranians never retaliated, they never responded really. And then you have Operation Midnight Hammer. You have all these acts of provocation.
I don't know, but I was looking at something just a second ago, right? If this motherfucker was to stand up, he'd be taller than this building. These other guys ain't as tall. And then if you look here, he has two women on the side of him. This one been chiseled out. But the one on this side is still there. They got women at their feet. But look how big they are. And look how little the other statues are standing up compared to this one sitting down. So if he stood up, he'd probably be twice as big as the others. And plus, what's up with these little ladies? And there's one over here too, but they chiseled it out a little bit. Crazy. Well, I'm at the Luxor Temple, finna enter. This is the entrance.
Is the dark web really as scary as the kind of internet portrays it to be? Or is it like how would you describe it?
I would describe the dark web as a buzzword that people created about something called the onion router, which is a different segmentation of the internet where it's just, you're visiting websites that are not accessible unless you're connected to that specific network. That they call that the dark web. You can go on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram on the dark web, and it doesn't mean that it's going to be the dark web version of Instagram, Facebook, and it's just going to be behind a different network. But it does allow you to visit websites that you can't visit in your normal browser. They end in .onion, and that's some of those websites are informational sites where there's nothing wrong with them at all, and then there's other ones that are extremely horrible, like with child-related stuff. There's hitman services, there's organ harvesting sites, there's SIM swapping for phones, and things that are less vile but still crime. And some of them are fake, some of them are real. It's hard to know what's real and what's fake on some of these sites. But what is real, like the drug marketplaces, some of them they sell weapons and also photos of children and situations, and some of them don't allow for guns and that. Back when the quote unquote dark web was becoming popular and Bitcoin started to become popular, I think it was like 2011 or 12, if I'm correct. There was one called the Silk Road, which was the first of its kind. It was a dark web marketplace where Ross Ulbricht, who's currently serving 2 life sentences plus 40 years, he's about to be pardoned though
By Trump.
Trump, yeah. He's about to be pardoned, which is hopefully the right thing to do. But from what I know about Ross, and I know his mom, I'm in contact with his mother. What I know about him is his goal was never to create a marketplace to, have any type of violence or anything of that sort.
If it was me, this is where I would keep my dragons. I'm just saying. My dragon could fit right there. You dig.
Who's this guy? So this monster is a Casper Mountain crawler. There's a whole class of cryptids called crawlers, and they're often mistaken with skinwalkers, but crawlers are something different. Now, why is our crawler standing up? This is the size that they would be. Normally, they crawl around on all fours. Our museum is only so big, so some things that are normally on all fours might be shown standing when we make the model for them. These guys, I think, are terrifying, and a lot of cool crawler pictures all over the internet.
I'm here in Fort Worth, Texas, under a crazy-looking underpass on what used to be ocean floor millions of years ago. And you have evidence of this all throughout here, y'all. For example, look what we have right here, y'all. We've got a stunning ammonite, and right next to it, there's another ammonite right here, guys. That is crazy. And now it's just sitting on a giant piece of coral. And look what we have right here. That is a beautiful Cretaceous sand dollar. All within 5 feet of each other. Now sitting on an ancient piece of coral. Under a bridge. What is this? Yo! Look at this! I'm so like
Mario Kart.
What is this? This is the wildest shit I've ever seen in my life. Is it real? Like, what is this? I'm kind of scared, but I'm not, but what is it? What is this? Yo! Look at this!
We are in a psyop. 1000%. We are in a big time psyop. I think the powers that be, and this, I've never said this out loud, at least on the internet before, but I think the powers that be are trying to speed up a timeline that was made to take another 60, 70 years because they don't have that time to be around for it. And I think it's either that or it's getting so blatant that they no longer care. They think they're so guaranteed with a success that they don't care. And I'm not saying that I can write you a list right now of who they is.
Sure.
But there's always a they. You know, they have been there a while. But I think that they're trying to speed up some kind of a timeline. And I teach psyops. I'm the guy that teaches psyops, telling you that we are in a psyop. 1000%. We are in a big time psyop. And that does not mean that I have some kind of x-ray vision and I can see the puppet masters up above the stage. I don't know. I'm not saying I don't research that stuff.
Right.
But I do research these techniques, and they're definitely here. And it looks like this is the same process that's happened all over the world where psyops were sped up and weren't allowed to mature before the next phase began. And I think people are saying, well, this is bonkers or this is ridiculous, just crazy. Like it's just in your face.
Yeah.
It's from the left, from the right, from everywhere.
Yeah.
And it has nothing to do with left or right. And I think that is in itself a whole nother discussion.
Yes.
But we're seeing a timeline being sped up. We're seeing things done more and more in the open because there's probably not time for the previous step to mature to get our minds ready to receive the next one.
So we can expect civil war in the United States. Then you're going to have the Americans start to attack Venezuela and possibly other countries in South America. So America is in for a bad time, okay? China, yeah, I mean, Japan and China and India, they're all going to have conflicts with each other. But also what we should expect is that America starts to embargo China, meaning America uses its sea power to block China from accessing resources from overseas. And China imports most of its oil and a lot of its food. So if there's a blockade of China, you can expect the Chinese economy to really suffer, okay? All right. And then what we can expect to happen is America at some point will go to war with Iran. And this will destroy both countries, okay? Iran will not lose this war, but it won't win this war either because America is just going to bomb the crap out of Iran. It's going to send Iran back decades. But America will lose this war, but this is important because if America loses this war, it's forced out of the Middle East. And once it's forced out of the Middle East, all its military assets goes to Israel, which creates the Pax Judaica. Yeah, does that make sense, guys? That's the plan. Okay, now you have Pax Judaica.
In East St. Louis, how they're the military, the U.S. Army just confirmed, yeah, we were actually testing on you guys back during the Cold War, 60s and 70s. So they had these big trucks that go through the city. And there's testimonies of people who are alive today saying when they were a kid, they used to see these huge trucks with these big nozzles on them, and they were spraying. They were just spraying. They're like, what is that? And then like it had like texture to it and smelled weird. They just thought nothing of it, right? They're just like, okay, I guess they're spraying for sanitation or something.
Mm-hmm.
Later on, come to find out, it's a carcinogen that they were spraying. It was causing cancer. Some of the people with testimonies saying they lost their brother to liver cancer and this cancer and this cancer because they were testing it because they wanted to use it on Russia. They said that part of the region of Illinois had the same terrain as Russia.
Wow.
So they're like, oh, this is a good place to test.
Hmm.
Test lab rats, like the CIA. This is what they're doing to us.
Led Zeppelin.
And they still do it, right? We've seen videos on our reaction here where there's a late night truck driving through the city and it's just spraying stuff. And they also do it up above now, right? Out of sight, out of mind. They don't do it in our face no more. They do it up there. And the majority of people, they don't ever look up.
So crazy on tour that hotels would clear entire floors just for them. In the 70s, Zeppelin's reputation was so chaotic that hotels learned to just isolate them. Entire floors were booked, damage deposits were massive, and some hotels refused to ever have a rock band ever stay there again. Led Zeppelin had a reputation of being one of the craziest bands on tour. Not many bands have done what they've done. Zeppelin truly was the epitome of sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
By middle school, they learned that nothing bad will happen to them no matter what they do.
100%.
Because they understand how to play the system. Once you realize that, dude, coming to school is easy.
A lot of the people who were involved in the early design of computers were openly into the occult, which is why when you look at coding language, you know, there's terms like daemons and stuff like that. They're very open about it. You look at a circuitry in a computer motherboard, it looks like sigils. It looks like you're looking.
It's another form of life, and it's these interdimensional creatures influencing to build this thing.
In 1882, while reciting Goethe's Faust from memory in a Budapest park, Tesla had a flash of inspiration that led to his invention of the AC motor and the rotating magnetic field. He's literally reciting a play about someone making a deal with the devil. Poof, vision of this thing that has shaped modern society.
It's all about going to spirits and demons to get advanced technology.
Sam Altman just came out and said that this version of ChatGPT is the first AI system that self-improved, meaning that now we've gotten past the point.
It's self-training.
It's self-training.
Which is exponential. Once you have what the future is or what we're going to do with a probability of 99%, you can then add stimuli to control the future.
Fuck.
So it's not just about reading the future, it's controlling the future. And that's all.
Actually not that bad tonight.
Then we come through here. I mean, this is Westlake MacArthur Park. Most people are familiar with this. If you live in LA, you've probably seen this with your eyes at least once. Kind of crazy, but it's nothing that insane if you have been here a few times. Yes, sir. Oh.
Get out of there.
This is caution taped up today. Interesting. I don't know what's going on here. Oh, someone's getting arrested. Oops, sorry. Bro, what is going on here? Wait a second. Oh.
They're all lined up.
There's a major sting that happened here today. I'm just gonna scan it down a little bit. Oh, this is like a major sting operation that happened.
He's got the live stream right there.
They got it taped off and everything.
Dope.
I don't know what happened here today, but I mean, everyone's detained. I don't know what exactly the case is of what's happening.
This is a damn shame that this is happening in Los Angeles, y'all. It was one of the most beautiful cities in the world, y'all. LA at one point. Like, think about LA. Beautiful beaches. You got beautiful Hollywood. Like, you had back in the day, Hollywood was where it was at, y'all. And it turned into this. This is what it turned into. This is what comes from greed. This is what comes from us eating that cinnamon toast bacon. This is what comes from it. Let's check out these comments because a lot of people are living in LA out there and they're leaving comments that it wasn't always like this. What's with the fences everywhere? What's with all these people just standing around? What are they waiting for? I mean, parts of LA look like a third world city. It's so sad. Genuine question. I'm Scottish. Why is all the fencing on the street? I mean, why is all the fencing on the street? MacArthur Park, dead ass. Not even Grand Theft Auto was this bad. It looks like GTA. Sad to see this in LA. And Trump is talking about crime in Europe. He's exactly like he's over there doing all these things for other countries when, that's what they always do. But you know what that is? That's just a money laundering thing, I think. We're going to send, Europe all this money to deal with homelessness and all this. It's just money laundering, y'all. Milan is worse. Milan, isn't that supposed to be like super fancy? This is worse than a third world country. Crazy writer's hood. Be careful. American dream. Yep, that's the American dream now. Those people are probably living the American dreams. They just sit there and get high all day and get a government check and, don't pay any taxes. They can go walk on the beach whenever they want. Like, these people are probably living the dream. I call it the Oceania jail. Looks like a prison with 3 levels of fencing surrounding it. Illegal casino for sure. Compare to this, my Romania is heaven. Yeah, looks too scary for me. Best country in the world, right? As a Greenlander, I will have to repeat myself. No thanks. Palm trees and insanity. And Donald Trump thinks London has a problem. I filmed a mural painting documentary down the block. You know what's sad is, like, Trump won't even come and help here because him and Gavin Newsom in front of the camera hate each other. So he's like, you deal with it. They put their bitter egos in front of the people. They don't come together and be like, hey, man, this is for the people, man. This is America. We can't be living like that. What do we got to do? What do we got to do to fix this? Let's work together and let's fix it. No, it's more like, I don't want Donald Trump's help and I don't want Gavin Newsom. I'm not going to help him. That's what they do in front of the camera.
So Cuba has completely fallen. If you don't know what's going on, go check it out. America's been keeping oil out of Cuba for 15, 20 days. I don't know, longer than that. The entire infrastructure is gone. There's no power, and even if they got oil at this point, it wouldn't matter. They are going to be starving out and dying in mass droves very soon. Cuba has fallen.
I don't know if this is true or not, but if it is, like, you see these people in power that we are so passionate about, right? I don't really get a lot of it no more, but I've had people say, I'm done with you. They call me Kamala supporter, whatever. Like, these people that are so passionate about that, when push comes to shove, they don't care if we die, right? They don't care if they cut oil off to us. They're okay. They got their oil. They got their doomsday planes. They're okay. They don't care about us, y'all. They don't care about the people of Cuba. They don't handle their disputes within each other. The powers that be handle it. No, they let it go on to the people. Like, they don't care about us, y'all. And people are so passionate about these damn politicians and think they're going to come and save our day. And, I fell for it too, y'all. I fell for it this time. I thought he was going to come and bring prices down and do all this stuff. I'll never fall for it again. I'll never fall for it again. I don't care what they say.
Go check it out.
Your boy's back, you heard? LeBron again. Yeah, that nigga been owed a sacrifice. Here's my guess. I think I'm saying this for like the 5th time. I think Bronny gonna die on the court. That's gonna be a sacrifice, you heard?
Yeah.
Let's see how real this shit gets. They hardly sacrifice wives, you heard? Can you name a last celeb to sacrifice his wife? Nah, women have a lot of secret and like keeping them around, so yeah. But anyways, LeBron time is coming. You heard? LeBron fans? Yeah.
You'll never see McDonald's the same after this video. That is a bear, right? He tried to give it a pickle or something, didn't eat it. That is the whole burger. About to what is that? The sensory of animals are next level. It's almost like they almost have superpower amount of being able to sense their senses. He naturally on the land, he like, stop. That's not Bro, that's a bear, a wild bear. Well, it look like a tame bear because he all on him, but he doesn't want that. He done like, bro, get away from me eating that. He's trying to finesse him with the patty. No. Shout out to Sin City. If you seen what I seen, believe what I saw. Stop eating that fake stuff. Wow. They tried to feed the bear McDonald's for a minute straight, bro. And the bear denied it. From the first bite, he was about to bite it just off trusting, bro. Just off GP. And he like, hold on, what is that? Ugh. And y'all just consume it. I don't care about the files. Yeah, you're a demon. I don't know, y'all. I don't know if that, I mean, we already see that bear is highly trained, right? They're probably not feeding it a bunch of junk food. But I remember last time I went camping, they had a bear problem in the campgrounds, right? So they had bear traps out there. You know what's in those bear traps? Junk food, bunch of donuts, bunch of cake, bunch of French fries, burgers, chips, anything you could think of was in there. Did they catch the bear? I don't know. Maybe the bear didn't come to it. But I know, I hear what these bears eat, and they say they eat everything. These bears eat everything. They don't care. They'll eat whatever they can get their hands on. That's why when you go camping, you got to put your food, lock it up or something, because those bears will come get it. stay away from these folks.
The thing that doesn't ring true is the neighbors and people in the area say that General McCasland never showed any signs of dementia, amnesia, or anything other than being completely lucid, healthy, and energetic. Now, this general was in charge for many years of the Kirkland Phillips Research Site and Air Force Research Laboratory, which I understand is, and correct me if I'm wrong, Commander, affiliated with Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Ohio, and
Correct.
Supposedly the hub of UAP, UFO research going all the way back to Roswell. So this gentleman who ran that operation for many years would likely be holding many important UAP-related secrets, and suddenly he is gone without a trace. Your thoughts, Don?
Well, number one, I have a very hard time believing in coincidence.
Well, this General McCasland has been missing for 2 weeks, y'all. It hasn't even been on the news. Like, why is Guthrie all over the news when that happened, but this guy isn't, that has all this knowledge? He's a general. So I went to Gemini, because I never heard of the guy, and asked him how long he's been missing and what does he know. Let's check it out what it says. So I asked, how long has General McCasland been missing? Retired Air Force Major General Williams has been missing 2 weeks, having last been seen on the morning of February 27, 2026. The 68-year-old retired general disappeared after leaving his home in New Mexico on foot around 11 a.m. Authorities and his family have expressed significant concern as he left behind his cell phone and glasses. Who leaves their house like without that stuff? You know what I mean? Especially if you're like going on a walk or a hike or something. And medical condition, urgency of the search. Last confirmed contacts. Spoke with a repairman at his home around 10 a.m. Reported missing. His wife returned home at 12 to find him gone and reported him missing at 3 that same day. General retired approximately 13 years ago after a career that included commanding the Air Force Research Laboratory at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. His disappearance has drawn public interest due to his past oversight of facilities often linked to UFOs. Through his wife has stated unlikely his disappearance is related to that. It's unlikely, but it's still a possibility, right? I asked, what all does he know intelligence-wise? Is considered one of the most knowledgeable figures regarding the U.S. military's most sensitive technological and space secrets. His wife has clarified that he does not possess specific secret knowledge about extraterrestrial bodies, like he would tell her, right? His official career placed him at the center of several highly classified domains. So he knows a lot of stuff. He has deep expertise in space-based intelligence and military operations. What are the chances this guy goes missing? Out of everybody, all the one that is the most knowledgeable on space, on aliens, on all that stuff, he's the one that goes missing.
Certain place, and then we can do the procedure. And I'm like, if I can lose 50 pounds, then I can lose 100 pounds. Right. I don't need this.
Right.
And then when it came down to medication like Mounjaro or Ozempic and stuff like that, I got on Ozempic for maybe 5 months. And Ozempic works. Ozempic is scary how good it works because it does curb your appetite to a place where you're like, do I even need food? Like seriously, I just would look at food. I'm like, not like it was gross, but I'm like, I'm good.
You're right.
And I started losing weight. But the problem with Ozempic is you're gonna lose more muscle than fat.
Yeah.
And that my shoulders, like, even though I'm a big guy, like, overweight.
And that ain't coming back, Gabe.
Hey.
Gabriel, it's not coming back.
I'm strong.
Oh, you're like, yeah, you're sturdy.
I'm sturdy.
Ooh, yeah, you could have been a lineman.
Yeah, no, I'm I got strength. So the fact that I lost my shoulders. But I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm losing weight, but I'm like, oh. And so I didn't like it. And then, you're a little bit nauseous. That's part of the deal. And I got off of it. I got off of the Ozempic, and immediately I gained back 20 pounds.
Binged all that
It
water
is
weight
scary
back.
how quick you regain the weight. And, you want to hear a crazy story? I was actually supposed to be the original face for Ozempic. Ozempic reached out to me many years ago, and we're like, we got this brand, we got this product, and we want to see if you're interested. And they offered me a freaking incredible deal to be the face of Ozempic. Before freaking I was supposed to be the guy singing that in the commercials. They wanted me to be the brand, the face for it. And even though it was a $1 million deal, I couldn't do it. It wasn't a voiceover role. What they wanted from me was more than what I could give because I was going to do better on the road.
Because they actually wanted you to.
They wanted me to go out and tour and be basically the face, and okay, you're selling Ozempic around wherever.
But let me ask you this. Let's just say you say you're around 320 now. Let's just say for the sake of argument, you lost another 60, 70 pounds. Do you think that'll change you? Because I think the people, you can't be fluffy anymore. You're not fluffy.
So I had this conversation with Big Boy. Big Boy here, LA, Real 92.3.
Yes.
I've known Big Boy for 20 years, and I knew him when he was 500 plus pounds, when he was really big boy.
Yeah.
Now he's maybe 210.
Yes.
And it was one of those things where I said, hey, man, how did things change for you once you lost all that weight? You weren't Big Boy anymore. He goes, no, I wasn't Big Boy no more, but I was alive. And that's the most important thing. So if I lose 100 or whatever the amount of weight is, I might not be fluffy.
Right.
But man, I'm going to be alive. And I think that's the most important thing.
Yes.
And I think my fans and people would rather see me alive and able to function and do what I do
100.
rather than be the big guy.
Right.
Because the majority of of my material, I'll touch on the fact that I'm big because we know that.
Right.
But
never been so scared in my life. They're burning everything here in Puerto Vallarta. You just burned that also right there. We had to leave. They're throwing bombs everywhere.
The world is in chaos, y'all.
Here's the Raytheon triangle. That is man-made. And the guy who saw it in detail, because he picked up some night scopes he was told not to, saw that there was this one, and then they were holographically projecting several others. Wow. This could be used in a false alien invasion. And then that later, he and his wife got abducted by this thing and tortured. And it was Raytheon.
you have proof that it was Raytheon?
The men who took him there were Raytheon operatives. They took him aside, wanted to show him this, but not without the night scope, so he saw more detail than they wanted. And for that reason, it ruined his life. Stephen Digna, wonderful man.
What did moms across America find after testing Chick-fil-A sandwiches?
We found an aviary contraceptive in them, narcobazine, in Chick-fil-A sandwiches. And so we are extremely concerned about people who have been eating Chick-fil-A because we know it's quite addictive.
So not only aviary contraceptives in there, but they just brought back antibiotic chicken.
So after we put out that information that we found an aviary contraceptive.
No one has been able to go down to the Titanic. It's too far.
Well, no. They had manned craft that went down to the Titanic. I went to the Titanic Museum this past weekend at the Luxor in Vegas. They have a chunk of it. You could see like this big piece that they pulled up and different artifacts they pulled up. So they did go down there and attach things with manned crafts, and then they pulled them up with some kind of drone.
How do you think those dudes felt when they tried to go see the Titanic? What was they thinking, bro?
Bro, the moment before that thing fucking imploded. Apparently it was free falling before it imploded, so they
Damn.
knew it was over.
Something big is going on in Prescott or Prescott Valley. Every single ambulance, emergency truck, police vehicle, everything is coming out of the fire, like the whole highway. Look at this. Look at that. That is crazy.
Mechanics are hoarding 1990s trucks, the forever list. This is for educational purposes. Share this video with someone you love, care, and respect. Curious to know your thoughts in the comment section. What kind of truck do you own?
To notice a pattern. They are not pulling into the shop in 2024 Silverados or brand new F-150s. They are quietly, methodically buying up a very specific era of pickup trucks before the rest of the public catches on. And there is a reason for that. Modern trucks are not built for the owner anymore. They are built for the manufacturer's revenue stream. Software-locked features, over-the-air updates that change how your vehicle behaves overnight, and subscription fees just to use your own key fob.
Sick of it.
The truck in your driveway is no longer fully yours. The mechanics figured this out years ago. They stopped fighting it and started building an exit strategy. Today, we are opening the vault and revealing the mechanics forever list. These are 3 specific analog trucks from the 1990s that cannot be tracked, cannot be subscribed to, and cannot be shut down by a corporate server. You need to find one before they are gone. Number 1 on the forever list is the undisputed king of the American driveway. The 9th generation Ford F-150, known as OBS or Old Body Style, was built from 1992 to 1996. When you buy a modern truck, you are buying a fragile network of sensors wrapped in aluminum. The OBS Ford was built with thick, heavy gauge steel body panels and a real ladder frame. It has a physical throttle cable. It has actual tactile knobs for the heater and climate controls. But the real reason mechanics are hoarding this specific truck is what sits between the frame rails. What sits there is the 4.9 liter, 300 cubic inch inline 6. This is not a car engine. It is a tractor engine stuffed into a pickup. It uses a cast iron block and a cast iron cylinder head. While modern trucks rely on plastic timing chain guides that crack and grenade the engine around 80,000 miles, the Ford 300 inline 6 uses gear-driven timing. There is no chain to stretch. There is no belt to snap. The timing gears will outlast the truck itself. If the water pump fails, you can sit on the fender, unbolt it with a basic socket set, and replace it for about $40. No dealer diagnostic scanner required. No software authorization to marry the part to the vehicle's computer. It is a mechanical tool that belongs entirely to you. Treat the frame for rust. Change the oil on.
He was the freaking hero of Katrina. The story that everybody knows is 100% the opposite of what really happened. When Katrina happened, he was at his ranch in Waco. We got a sense that that storm was really bad last night, but we had no idea how bad it was. So the president decides he's going to cut his time short at Waco and get on Air Force One and come back. He gets on Air Force One and tells the pilot, take it down to 1,000 feet. I want to see it firsthand. The staff insists, you shouldn't do that, Mr. President. We can't make Air Force One a recon plane. You know, he's like, I want to do it. So they do it. The military aide that was with him was the Coast Guard aide. He comes into my office and he is shook up. And he goes, we need to respond like the United States has been attacked by 13 nuclear bombs. That's the devastation. No one in the U.S. government knew this until that event happened. He calls an emergency session of all the cabinet people. If we have helicopters, get them moving south right now and push thousands of rescue assets. Just start pushing them farther south. He then turned to us and was like, I want to fly down there tomorrow. You know, the military office was like, we've never done anything like that. It's a combat zone. There's no electricity. So we pull it off. The helicopter lands and there's a family where the helicopter lands. Imagine if you're this family and you're in this devastation site and Marine One lands and that's the president and he gets off. He's dressed pretty much like me with a denim shirt. And he walks up to this lady and he starts hugging her and she's crying, the kids are crying, and he's like, it's going to be okay, it's going to be okay. He then wants to take a family on Marine One, to which we're like, hey, Marine One's not a rescue helicopter, we can't take them. And his point was, he goes, well, if we're not taking them, I'm not going to have an extra bottle of water for me on the helicopter. Rip everything off this helicopter and leave it for them. And the staff is all crying. It's an emotional moment.
Today is March 3rd. I'm in Phuket, Thailand, and Thai government just informed everybody that they only have about 2 months worth of fuel reserve. So, of course, everybody is hitting up the gas stations right now. It's a huge, long queue, huge, long lines. And, of course, there's many questions of, like, is it true? Is it really 2 months? How much is it going to go up in price if it does? all the electric vehicles right now, like super happy that they purchased electric vehicles. So many unknowns. So hey, we went and filled up ourselves on our motorcycle. We don't have a car here in Phuket, so I guess I'll update you guys as we know more from the Thai government. But yeah, that's the news.
Guys, what do you guys think of this? Are you guys getting worried about gas? Not only the price running up, but us running out of shortages. Are you guys worried about that? I think it's a scam, y'all. I think it's a scam because it just started 2 weeks ago. Like, we don't have no reserves here. We don't got like backup. Like, the day it happened, prices went up, right? Now, I'm not going to say there's not a shortage with all this going on, but doesn't it take some time to get to get pumped, to get to, over the ocean and get here? Like, doesn't that take time to process and all that? But I went on I went on Google and asked it, are they running out of gas out there? Is this, and then we're going to ask it, is this coming to America? We got, as of March 13th, Phuket is not running out of gas, but the island is experiencing localized fuel shortages and temporary station closures due to intense panic buying across Thailand. So that in a way, that's running out of gas, right? They're closing down temporary station closures, while the national government maintains that there is no structural fuel crisis. The following conditions are currently affecting and other provinces: panic buying and long queues, fears of rising prices and supply disruptions due to conflict in the Middle East have caused motorists to rush to stations, temporary stations, closures. Some stations in Phuket have temporarily closed after their daily supplies were exhausted. The surge in demand. These closures typically last until the next scheduled tanker delivery arrives. Sales restrictions to manage inventory. Some stations have restricted the amount of fuel customers can purchase or have banned the filling of jerry cans and other portable containers. See, they're running out, y'all. They're running out. If they weren't running out, they wouldn't have to do that. Let's ask if it's going to happen in America. The United States is not experiencing a fuel shortage, though American drivers are currently facing higher prices at the pump due to the same global tensions affecting Thailand. While Phuket has seen localized station closures from panic buying, the U.S. remains one of the world's largest oil producers and has substantial domestic reserves to prevent. See, we got reserves. The day this started happening, y'all, this started what? In 2 weeks, my gas has went up $1. It was $2.56. I put gas yesterday. It was $3.56.
This right here is one of the main reasons why you are paying so much more for so many things. $100 bills being printed and stacked to the ceiling nonstop while our purchasing power shrinks. Now, if they can just print money, then why do we need to pay taxes? You ever thought about that? And have you ever thought about how much of the world is controlled by this thing that doesn't exist in the natural world? Money doesn't exist in the natural world, but yet it's what people wake up and think about the first thing they get out of bed. Now, of course, you can use money for good things and bad things. I'm not against money per se, but we can agree it's not natural. And isn't it interesting, we're the only thing in this world that pays to live here. I'm just saying, there is probably other ways, and I bet you the other way has something to do with Nikola Tesla, Victor Schauberger, and some other great inventors who, well, let's just say their works are swept under the rug.
Florida man claims to have been kidnapped by dolphins and forced to build an underwater city. The man was found early Monday morning on the side of a beach in Lee County, soaking wet, dehydrated, and confused. When deputies arrived, he was drawing detailed diagrams in the sand. According to the man, a pod of dolphins took him while he was swimming and brought him to a place about 40 feet under the surface. He said they forced him to help build underwater structures. He told deputies the dolphins communicated with him using clicks. He said the group had a leader named Gerald who somehow helped him breathe underwater, possibly by creating an airspace. The man spent 3 days working on what he described as cities, towns, and condo-like structures. When the dolphins were satisfied with his work, they sent him back to the surface and told him they would return for phase 2. Medical staff treated him for dehydration, but found no signs of head injury or mental confusion. Tests showed seawater and marine particles in his lungs, suggesting he had been deep underwater for a long time without typical lung damage. This was unusual and raised questions for doctors. The man holds a master's degree in aerospace engineering and has experience with deep-sea technology, which he says is why the dolphins chose him. Some people think the story is false, but the physical evidence has made others curious. Let me know what you think.
The rumor is Dubai will run out of food in about a week's time. But this image of Dubai as a financial hub is now shattered by this war, and they'll never recover from this. In fact, we're already hearing rumors of millionaires just fleeing with their wealth. Now they're going to Singapore. Now they're going to Southeast Asia. A bigger problem is this. A bigger problem is that because the Strait of Hormuz is closed, their oil economies have collapsed. They can no longer sell their oil, and they shut down their oil production facilities. What people don't recognize is that the Strait of Hormuz takes GCC oil to Asia, but then it brings back food. The GCC imports 80 to 90% of its food supply.
It's not good.
The rumor is Dubai will run out of food in about a week's time.
I live alone. There is no reason why my 1 month bill should be $675 when the house is pitch black. When we talk about these data centers, there is no question that the reason why our bills are as high as they are is because you've got these multi-billion-dollar corporations, Meta, Amazon, who come into our communities, who take all of their money and use it, don't pay a dime in taxes, and this is why our bills are the way that they are. We are making all the concessions as consumers in terms of what we can do to lower our bill. Lights, no heat. We're going to bed at night. I go to bed at night with no heat on at all. I turn my heat off at night and get in the bed so that my heat doesn't run all night long. When will the elected officials, our local
going in one ear and out the other, homie,
officials, take our fight to Annapolis and then take our fight to the governor, who will then take our fight to the feds? We know that multi-billion-dollar corporations don't pay a dime. And this is why we are suffering. Our quality of life is in the toilet because the people who have been elected to represent us, you guys are not doing your job. Too many people have died, who have been hung and beaten to have a seat at the table, and now you've got 90% of black people running this government, and you guys are treating us the same way we would be treated if we were still back in Jim Crow and 50s. You're not doing your job, and that's the problem.
Yo, I know I've been here for a bit, but it still shocks me that this is the capital city of the poorest province in China. Like, just take a look, man. This area is like the center of downtown. It's called CC Park. You can see there's some apartment buildings here. Look at this huge LED screen right here. A hospital right here. Right next to a shopping center. There's a bunch of stores, restaurants, everything in here. And right next to it is like another shopping center with stores, restaurants, things like that. So on each corner of this intersection, there's a shopping center. And let me show you the inside of the one that's on this corner. Wow, look at this. Look like there's some Michelangelo looking paintings on the ceiling. This kind of reminds me of something.
Look at.
If anybody knows, let me know in the comments. I don't know exactly what it is, but there's something similar to this in another country. Wow, this is nice.
I've only been to Vegas, y'all. I haven't been to the real deal, but looks like Vegas to me.
Mind you guys, this is the capital city of maybe the poorest province in China. And look how damn nice this mall is. Got a little toy section for the kids. Is that what I think it is? That says Lamborghini Automobile. They got Lamborghini bikes in here, man. Oh, shoot. All right, now we're walking outside of the building. And yeah, man, this is crazy. Like, where's the tax money in America going? This is the poorest province in China.
The golden pager that was given to President Trump. You have these exploding pagers used to kill terrorists. Obviously, that's not the only people who were killed, but nonetheless, that was their purpose. And then one is delivered to Trump. It can obviously be read as a threat. Why?
I think it was received that way, too.
You do?
I do.
Well, you're not making me feel better.
Things are really not going well in America.
What do you think immigration is really about? So when Biden opened up the borders, what do you think that was really about? Because now we're seeing in Epstein files, so you want to open up the borders for what exactly? Now there's due process. You have to have, to immigrate here, There's a process here. But just to open up the borders, that's really weird. That you're overexerting the government and the medical system and the schooling system. And why would you do that? Put all that stress on the company or the country. Because it's about something else.
And what is it about?
It's about trafficking. Because you have undocumented people coming over by the tens of thousands. Don't know where they are, who they are, who's in their care, at all.
Now, when we say trafficking, what are they doing with?
Well, it's layered, right? So you have, that's one layer. Going back to the Epstein files, look into Zorro Ranch. He did a lot of experiments there, okay? Now, if you look at what they were doing in the files, there's a multitude of things to where there's, organ harvesting on the black market. I mean, some guy just got caught not too long ago to where he was stealing bodies out of the cemetery, digging people up, and had bodies in his basement and selling body parts online. Facebook Marketplace.
Garbage you can make money from. Do you work at a bar or a restaurant that serves mostly cans? Well, you can pull off the tabs. Are you an alcoholic who's got a drinking problem? Pull off the tabs. Throw them in a box, save them up. You can sell them on eBay. People use them for arts and crafts, and you know what? I don't really know what they use them for, but it's garbage that you can get for free, especially if you work somewhere who just goes through cans like crazy. Save those tabs, make money from garbage.
That means you're turning, because that's how they get you in sex slavery.
Is that why do you
Let us
know
hold on to
that?
your passports, and then once you get your passport, you can't go anywhere.
Oh, okay, that's great advice.
I have two young girls. I am
And you tell-
all about.
How young
human
are your
trafficking.
girls?
22 and 19, and all I text them about is human.
Are you very afraid of that? You've brought that
I'm terrified.
You've
I'm
said the word
terrified. Terrified of it
times.
because it's real.
I don't. Do people think it's not real?
Yes, in like Mexico and
Wait, it
Southeast
happens
Asia.
here.
It happens here in
Okay,
Miami.
I guess I'm one of those people who think I spend very little time thinking of.
So one of my friends is a big billionaire. He goes, "Let me set you up with a guy that probably the foremost expert in human. I'll give you all the info you need." And when he sent me the stuff, I was just terrified. It's dude, in Miami, girls get out of clubs. Uber driver goes, "Hey, let me give you a bottle of water. You look like you've been drinking." Bottle of water's drugged. Take them, drive them on a boat. Never see them again.
It's crazy.
It's insane. My biggest fear is my free will taken away from me. That's like
that's
why I'm having such a hard time with these blood thinners.
That's free will taken for sure.
Yeah, but that's like when you see like Game of Thrones. Do you remember Game
Yeah.
of Thrones when they took the guy and they cut his junk off and his free will was taken away from him?
That's I used to be terrified of getting kidnapped and tickle tortured, but that I know that sounds crazy. Do you know it's you shouldn't do it to kids. You shouldn't do it. It's not fair. I hate it. I'm going to start advocating against tickling of children.
Oh, look at this rattlesnake. That is an enormous fucking rattlesnake. Look at that. That's Can you imagine? I've had my fair run-ins with rattlesnakes, y'all. That is a monster. That is a monster. That's a thick rattlesnake.
Is it true that diaper companies funded research to delay potty training?
Yes. It's called the Pampers Institute. My stepmom became a nurse a couple dozen years ago, and her medical text said that they don't have sphincter control till they're 18 months old. I've helped over 1 million babies do this, okay? I have seen it with my own 6 kids. Babies are born with sphincter control. They will hold it till you get the diaper off. They're born with it. I met this guy, and he worked for Pampers for like 30 years. And he was like, Brazelton, the one who did that study, was the head of the Pampers Institute, and that they did heavily influence the medical texts. They worked together. They continue to work together today. Your pediatrician will tell you, you need to wait till your child says they're ready to potty train. Where did all these messages come from? You follow the money. They came from those big companies.
This is some of the scariest shit that I've read in a while. Why did I just find out that social media and excessive scrolling can cause something called popcorn brain, and it might be the reason why behind you have such trouble focusing on things and why your short-term memory's gone out the window. Yes, you heard me right. Popcorn brain. I've heard of popcorn lung, but popcorn brain sounds a lot scarier if you ask me. Popcorn brain refers to when your brain gets so used to constant fast stimulation such as TikTok, Reels, short-form content that it begins to struggle with slower tasks such as reading, writing, or working. You know, real-world stuff. When I take just a second to think about it, it makes total sense. I don't say this to brag, but growing up, I was a really smart kid. I was put in the gifted program. I was always reading above my grade level. But when I got to high school, you know, junior and senior year is when I really ran into a roadblock. You know, my grades started slipping. It was really hard for me to focus in class. And honestly, I was just so disinterested by my schoolwork. And when I think back, that was the time in my life where I was spending the most amount of time on my phone every day. I'm talking 7, maybe 8 hours watching TikTok and Reels. It is the phone. The phone is making you dumber. You have to make a change. You have to stop this from happening to yourself. Do you want your brain to pop like a salted buttery kernel? No, I didn't think so. Neither do I. Lock your phone up at night. Start setting time limits on your apps. If you want a good screen time app, I'll put the one that I use in the caption, but you gotta promise me you're gonna do something. Because the only person that's able to step in and do something about this and stop the deterioration of your intelligence is you. So follow along so we can quit doom scrolling together and stop our brains from being cooked any further.
Atlanta and outskirts is crazy. I imagine the whole country like this, but it's more people in higher populated areas. But I mean, it's literally gotta be 50 cars out here, and you can tell we all are posted up.
Oh, if you guys have driven around Walmart like late night, but it is full of cars, y'all. It's full of cars. People are living out of their vehicles now because of what is going on. This video had over 3,000 comments, y'all. And when I was reading them, you were going to be surprised how many people are living out of their cars. Let's check them out. 2015, me in a Planet Fitness parking lot, but now I'm a homeowner. Good for her. Friend, get a cosigner company and get you an apartment. Cosigners like 1 app guaranteed. Damn, I didn't know you can get cosigners like that. Then to have people like Jetty and Rhino will pay your deposit. I didn't know they had all that type of help. What sucks about capitalism is that someone is going to monetize people living in their cars, safe living, parking spaces or something along the line. Yeah, I mean, it kind of already happens with like RV parking and all that, right? This would just be, you know, as bad as it sounds, like that might be a good business opportunity because that's kind of where it's heading, y'all. People are going to have to live out of their cars, right? What's crazier is there's absolutely no shortage on housing. There's actually an abundance, but they decided to raise the cost of living by 400%, and it's going to get even worse. It's going to get even worse with all this stuff that's going on, right? It's going to get even worse. I think what Iran is trying to do, they're not trying to come over here and bomb California like they're saying. They want to crush the economy. They want these barrels of gas to go up to $200, $300 and crush everything, y'all. That's how they win. They don't win by casualties like we think we win by shooting down their planes and doing all this nonsense, right? They don't like they care, but at the end of the day, what they want to crush America's soul.
The state of Texas, if you kill someone, you get 5-10 years. You rob someone, you're gonna get a life sentence and never go home. They hold you more accountable for robbing someone because they say that they have to deal with psychological trauma or something like that. You're better off killing them.
Right.
So they offer me 66 years. I'm young. I don't know what to do with all that time. I go back in the dorm. I cry. I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, I was a gangster. I was just really standing on business. No, I got on my bunk. I went under the cover and I cried. That hurt it. I thought I was gone for the rest of my life. So I'm like, I'm just going to take everything to trial. I'm going to fight for my life. So I beat these two in trial. They hit me with these extraneous after I beat them because now the DA is mad that I won in trial. My lawyer tells me, he's like, man, these other 3 cases, you got good action. Like, I could win, but I'm going to lose one.
I think it's just going to get weirder and weirder and weirder. And finally, it's going to be so weird that people are going to have to talk about how weird it is. And at that point, novelty theory can come out of the woods because eventually people are going to say, what the hell is going on? It's just too nuts. It's not enough to say it's nuts. You have to explain why it's so nuts. So between now and 2012, the next 14 years, I look for the invention of artificial life, the cloning of human beings, beings, possible contact with extraterrestrials, possible human immortality, and at the same time, appalling acts of brutality, genocide, race baiting, homophobia, famine, starvation, because the systems which are in place to keep the world sane are utterly inadequate to the forces that have been unleashed. The collapse of the socialist world, the rise of the internet, these are changes so immense, nobody could imagine them ever happening. And now that they have happened, nobody even bothers to mention what a big deal it is.
Dude, check this shit out. So I bought some of that $5 seed from fucking Dollar Tree. Why is it working, guys? Why is it working? I'm actually getting some fucking grass.
Start green.
I'm so excited. I didn't even have to use fertilizer. I just threw the seed down because I was like not thinking it was gonna work because it was from the Dollar Tree, but it fucking does.
Oh, look at this. Wow. This is beautiful, guys. Look at this. This is fascinating. Wow.
My favorite place in Antarctica is this. My favorite place in South Georgia is Hercules Bay.
Yeah. Oh, this is beautiful.
I want a marble kitchen top like that.
Wow.
So expensive.
With all the strings, huh? This is beautiful. This is absolutely gorgeous, guys.
This is the place where we can get the closest to an ice wall like this.
Exactly.
Safest, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god, this is the closest I've been to an
Yeah.
Beautiful. Me too. That's why I love it. And then you look back and you see that. Look
Wow.
at that. That looks unreal.
Exactly. That looks like AI.
Huh?
But that's
Looks
the
like
real
AI.
thing. Yeah.
Haters will say it's AI.
You can stand up for a moment if you want to.
Wow.
This
is beautiful.
That is absolutely beautiful. It looks like the cutout of the ship is just stuck on a photo.
Yeah, exactly.
Here's more things that I want to know. I want to know why people look at pictures of the World's Fairs and aren't as dumbfounded as I am when you're told this was temporary. So they say. I want to know how we built the Erie Canal without any power tools or steam engines from 1817 to 1825. The canal is 40 feet wide, 28 feet deep. It has 83 locks. It rises up to 568 feet of elevation, and it's 363 miles long. So what I really want to know, was it already there and we just fixed it up? Or did a bunch of guys with donkeys, gunpowder, picks and shovels and broken backs to make the canal? I want to know. I want to know who Corey Feldman will not name in Hollywood as somebody who's done some terrible things to people. I want to know how the USS Great Eastern laid 2,600 miles of telegraph cable from Newfoundland, Canada to Ireland in 1865 to 1866. How did they know how deep it was? USS Great Eastern was a 692-foot palatial ship that could hold 4,000 people and was as fancy on the inside as the Titanic, and was built from 1854 to 1858. Again, could hold 2,600 miles of telegraph cable along with 4,000 passengers. I just want to know how they did it all. Damn. Since we're on the topic of World's Fairs, the Paris World's Fair, the Chicago World's Fair, and the St. Louis World's Fair have a combined weight of 2.77 billion pounds, or 1.25 million metric tons of materials to build all of them. That's a lot of temporary stuff. I want to know, for the first Ferris wheel at the 1893 World's Fair that could hold 2,000 people and was held up by a spindle that weighed 80 tons, I want to know how they lifted it up there. Hey, I want to thank all you new followers. I think we all want to know, so let's keep going. Because what I really want to know is who on that list is going to jail first in America.
I'm going to tell you a little secret. I take a dolphin and I slow it down. It sounds like a monkey. If I take a chimpanzee and I speed it up, it sounds like a mouse. If I take a mouse, slow it down, Sounds like a seagull. If I take a seagull and slow the seagull down, sounds like a gorilla or a whale. If I take a whale and we speed the whale up, sounds like birds. Here's some cows. Sped up, they sound like puppies. If we slow crickets down, we're back at birds. Information is transmitted via waves. We can see that, we can hear that. The fundamental is the carrier wave. The harmonics differentiate my voice from a singer. Whales communicate below our hearing, so we have to speed it up to hear it. Our hearing is right here, and above it.
Frickin' bats. I love Halloween.
Frickin' bats and whales and dolphins use higher frequencies to see. They bounce the waves off to get an image. Everything is connected this way. Grizzly bears even sound like humans.
My 8-year-old struggles to sleep at night because she is afraid ICE agents might break into our house.
All right, pause it. First off, you're a mom. All these fucking people, all these assholes who go, I had to tell my daughter that remember Alyssa Milano? I lay in bed with my daughter and we both fucking shit, you lying bitch. You guys are lying. Your white ass 8-year-old is scared to go to bed at night. How about you just swayed your 8-year-old of that feeling?
Exactly.
Of
Your
that
job
knowledge.
is to manage that,
Why don't you
regulate that
manage it?
anxiety.
Why don't you fucking go into a room? By the way, your 8-year-old doesn't do any of this.
Dude, it's no different than you worrying about the hillside strangler when you're 8 years old coming to get you.
Well, no one came in and told me they wouldn't.
Right, it's the
That was
point,
kind of the problem.
and no one amplified it
No,
either.
listen, the hillside strangler killed random people.
Right.
He didn't deport Mexicans.
Right.
If he deported Mexicans, I would have slept like a fucking baby. He'd break into my house and be like, are you Mexican? I'd be like, no. And he'd be like, all right, moving on.
The United States is owned by foreign corporations. Nixon opened it up for foreign trade. And when Nixon opened up for foreign trade, the people of Europe and the common market and Spain and different places, they don't care about the United States forest. And in short, the United States has been sold out by people who really don't care for anything but money. I've had all the money in the world 3 times. I had to give it back to keep the game going.
What game?
The game. It's a game. Money is a game. It's only real to the people who work for it. The people that don't need to work for money, it's a monopoly game. It's a game of paper. It's all on paper. I've got a production company, and I've got a recording company, and I've got a mansion in Beverly Hills, and I've got Rolls Royces and Ferraris. I've got everything money can buy, but it's all on paper. Everything's done through the companies and through the tax loopholes, and the people that live on that level, they don't care about the average honest mule that just goes back and forwards to work. They don't care about the children that are in the streets that are thrown out of this upper echelon of existence.
I went on no sugar diet for 4 months. It was easier for me to quit cane than it was for sugar.
And that is a hard kick.
Yeah,
It's hard to kick.
That was easy. That was easy. I was just like, I'm sick of having headaches and running noses and stuff and all that shit. So that was easy. But the candy, man, that was hard.
I deal with this sugar addiction, right? Now it's not sugar in the sense of candy, but it's like the salty junk food craving. That's what I have. I've had this problem since I was a little kid. Like I grew up eating chips, eating junk food, right? That was always in our house, and that used to be my lunch and dinner sometimes, y'all. Very bad habits, and I deal with those same demons to this day, right? So let's see. Let's see what are some of the sugar cravings. And let's ask it, is it harder than hard drugs? What are the withdrawals of sugar? When you significantly reduce or quit added sugar, your body and brain undergo a recalibration process that often results in sugar withdrawal or the sugar flu. These symptoms are primarily caused by a drop in dopamine and serotonin levels, same things that the drugs use, as the brain's reward system adjusts to the absence of sugar. Common symptoms: intense cravings, strong urges for sweets or foods, high carb items like bread and pasta. Intense cravings. Y'all think about that. When you quit doing drugs, I don't know. I've never been into drugs. I've never really been hard on alcohol like that, but I can guess you crave it. Your body's craving that. You need to refuel those dopamine hits, right? Headaches, often described as throbbing. These are caused by sudden drops in blood sugar, fatigue and lethargy, mood changes. Yep, I get irritable. I get very grumpy. Mood swings, feelings of depression or sadness, digestive discomfort, bloating, nausea, sleep disturbances. Like these are all like heavy drug, without dying, right? Are you planning on to cut sugar cold turkey or interested in a gradual reduction? See, like that's what you got to do when you're doing hard drugs. If you do it cold turkey, you can run into some problems, or you're going to gradually. Let's ask it if it's harder to get off sugar or hard drugs. It is a fascinating question that scientists have actually studied in labs. If you look at how the brain's reward system reacts, sugar and cocaine are surprisingly similar, but the hardness to quitting depends on whether you're looking at brain chemistry or real world environment. So it's going to be, if you're looking at real world environment, it's harder to quit food because there's food everywhere, right? Cocaine, you got to go to a certain dealer and all that. Brain chemistry and famous studies involving rats, researchers found that when given a choice between sweetened water and cocaine, 94% of the rats chose the sugar. They took the sugar, 94%. Y'all, it's harder to quit sugar than it is to quit the white stuff, the white powder. Cocaine quitting involves intense psychological cravings and a crash, but it doesn't really cause life-threatening physical withdrawals like alcohol or opioids. Sugar withdrawal is usually mild in a medical sense. It's mild there, but it's harder. The environment factor, why sugar is harder for many. This is why sugar often wins the hardest to quit contests. Availability, social acceptance, hidden ingredients. Sugar is hidden in 75% of packaged foods like pasta sauce, salad dressing, meaning you might be using it without even knowing, which keeps the addiction loop alive. So they just said it, y'all. It just told us right there. It is harder to quit sugar than it is to that no sugar. Think about that. And think about how that sugar is in everything. Not only is it in everything, even if it doesn't say sugar, they got different words for it. It'll be sugar free, but they put a different word in there that it is sugar, but they say sugar free. It's just not that sugar. It's a different type of sugar. That's the world we're living in.